Okay.
So it'd probably be really good for ISO certification.
I don't know if ISO people will be able to understand this. Um, that might be too technical for them, I
Oh,
guess.
okay, gotcha. Okay.
But obviously, if you ask these guys, then they are going to say that, you know what, it's supposed to be the same business process. There is no difference. It's the same flow chart, but even flow chart, you can make them very complex and unreadable.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our #1 priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you are joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We cover one vendor or the solution. And for today, we have one of the hottest solutions in the market. It's Celonis. And I apologize. I don't know whether you guys are recognizing this or not. I'm a little bit sick today. So my voice is not going to be as awesome as it
This is
generally
the
is.
advantage of doing things over the web because I can't get sick from you. You see,
Exactly. That's why I'm trying to protect the world, Andy, today.
you are. You're so benevolent, Sam. You're so benevolent.
trying to.
Oh, you're a hero.
Thank you, Andy.
You're
Um,
welcome.
oh my goodness, this is so much fun. And Andy, I mean, I cannot afford to laugh too much today because I
You'll
need to
cough.
conserve my exactly energy today as
I'll
well.
try to keep the humor down to a minimum then.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay.
Okay, we are always laughing.
That's our problem. We have too much darn fun.
Too much fun. Yeah, I know. All right, guys. So if you're joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions and comments. We generally incorporate them as part of our review. So always looking forward to those. We are going to start with the quick intro. I am going to start with my quick intro. Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP, CRM, and digital transformation consulting firm. Andy, would you like to introduce yourself next?
I would love to, Sam, and like always, thank you so much for inviting me. I always have a great time and learn stuff too, which is
Same
even
here
better.
with you. It's always fun with you, Andy.
You're a nice person, Sam.
Thank you, Andy.
I've been involved in ERP software all my life. I worked all over North America. I lived in the U.S. for 11 years. I live in BC. I grew up in BC. I also teach companies how to select or how to evaluate or how to uncover the truth about ERP software before you buy. As a matter of fact, we had a nice presentation last week for the local ASCM chapter. There was like 25 or 30 people online, and I hope they all, if they either got a little bit of good advice or else they laughed their head off, one of the two.
Laughter is guaranteed, right, Andy?
Guaranteed. Laughter is
Guaranteed.
always guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, there is no point in going for a comedy show. Go to Andy's show. You'll laugh and you'll learn about ERP as well.
Yeah. My problem about stand-up is you have to understand ERP or the jokes don't hit. If I went on stand-up, they'd all be going. There'd be dust bunnies going by.
First, we'll tell you how to laugh. We'll tell you a little bit about ERP, and then you are going to laugh.
That's right. Over to you, Sam.
Okay, amazing, guys. So I'm actually going to start with the quick briefing of Celonis, and I don't know how many people are familiar with this solution. Again, one of the hottest. I think they are pioneer of the category or the technology that they are bringing to the table. It's really the process mining, process discovery, and it has become one of the hottest topics. The reason for that is because, Andy, I don't know whether you remember this or not, one of the biggest problems that we have had always with the ERP, and the reason why ERP is so frightening
Yes.
is because
Well, there's
ERP,
lots of reasons why it's frightening.
yeah, but I mean, primarily because the visibility. It
Absolutely.
always suffered from the visibility problem, right? Nobody knew what the hell was happening inside that, or how to make it successful, how to use it, how to adopt it. Regardless of whatever you are going to do, you are always going to have these challenges. And if you are running an ERP for a Fortune 100 company, where you are going to have, let's say, 50 to 100 different entities, good luck with visibility, because you don't know what you are sitting on.
That's
Uh, and that's where, and by the way, I mean, see, some companies, if you go back to the consulting world, um, if you start any sort of ERP implementation, and the way the business process discovery works, even if you're going to go for the top of the top consulting company, they generally are going to interview a bunch of stakeholders, and they are going to figure out some of the processes. And the problem that you run into with that approach is that the processes or the story that they are going to know, it is never going to be consistent across the departments, across the business units. So you never have sort of the source of truth, even though everybody likes to sell about source of truth when it comes to ERP. So that's where I guess the real problem that process mining solves is that discovery, that the visibility problem that companies have had. I don't know how many different solutions are there in the market as far as the process mining category goes. There are only so few, and the only ERP vendor that has really invested in the process mining category is probably SAP.
mm,
SAP has acquired a company called Signavio, and now that Signavio solution is part of the SAP solution. So now they are sort of tight coupling it with SAP. They also have the Lean IX solution as part of their bucket as well. That is going to be the whole enterprise architecture, process mining, RPA. They all are sort of kind of clubbed together in general, because if you go, and Andy, I don't know how much background you have. I think I have spoken about these topics before as well. Companies, even the industries that are going to be in the non-ERP space, they were trying to do the whole enterprise architecture piece. Before as well, it was very hard. There were some BPM tools in the market, and they all were trying to do very similar things, where they were trying to enable the whole process layer on top of your technology layer to give the end-to-end visibility, for the business. So, as part of the enterprise architecture, you had four different pieces. One is your business architecture, the second is your process architecture, third is your technology architecture, and data architecture. Those four pillars always are going to be relevant. So before process mining, what used to happen is people will literally draw these things, the processes, the technology, and there was always sort of the disconnect, between the what was happening on the ground versus what was sitting inside the documentation. So that's where process mining came along, and now all of these pieces are becoming cooler. They are far more capable overall in terms of the capabilities. So overall, the approach that Andy, what is going to happen is, so let's say if you are going through any sort of large transformation, you have very large installations of your SAP Oracle, and you are trying to figure out, okay, what is happening in your processes, and how much deviation are you going to have, from your
mm.
processes. It can estimate if you have any sort of custom development, if you have any sort of custom processes, if you are hijacking processes, it can monitor all of that.
Is it kind of a workflow functionality then, or much
Uh,
more detailed than that? I'm sure.
I would say the right term or the phrase would be reverse engineering.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah,
Okay.
so they are really reverse engineering. What is happening inside
Why did
the
it happen?
what is happening, I would say, you can get the answers for why is that happening,
Hmm.
but that might not always be a clear answer. What
Uh,
you will get is what is happening. Then you have to connect the dots, and you have to trace and figure out why that may be happening by interviewing people. So the process for your discovery and the process re-engineering is still going to be the same, but what you will get is, okay, let's say if I have five different people, and they have all of them have five different versions of the process. One person, let's say, they like to create sales order. As soon as you create the sales order, some people, they don't follow all of the serial steps, and they are simply going to go from sales order to invoice, maybe through one click process. So now if you want to know how many people are following the one click process, versus how many are doing one-to-end process. So for example, let's say you cut the sales order, and after that you are going to create a lot of different shipment, and then you are going to bundle them up, and then probably going to do the bulk invoice process or bulk fulfillment process. So you need to know, okay, how many people are following this versus that, because that's where your operational efficiency is going to be. So if you want to know all of those things, you can know and then figure out, okay, why people are following certain things certain way, and if there might be any sort of improvements, either through training or by doing some sort of notification. They are going to say that you can take actions in this tool as well, but for the most part, the intent of the tool is not necessarily to take action. It's going to be to learn.
Okay.
Okay, so rather than interviewing people and drawing the processes, you are going to shove everything that you have inside this tool, and it's going to draw fancy diagrams.
This is SOP creation.
Uh, you said SOP.
Standard operating procedures.
Exactly, but I mean, SOP sometimes could be referred as SNOP as well, which is the sales and operations planning.
No. I just meant, documentation.
Exactly. So it's not necessarily going to give you the future documentation. It's going to give you the current documentation, whatever is happening, but it might not be trainable as such. It's a
Right.
very technical version of documentation. You still have to revise, make it usable, but you will get the technical traceability, I would say. Okay.
So it'd probably be really good for ISO certification.
I don't know if ISO people will be able to understand this. That might be too technical for them, I guess.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
But obviously, if you ask these guys, then they are going to say that, what, it's supposed to be the same business process. There is no difference. It's the same flow chart, but even flow chart, you can make them very complex and unreadable. In my personal experience, even if you're drawing it yourself,
You sure can.
because there is art to drawing the flow
But
chart.
it always looks simple in the demo, though.
That's always the case, and you are the big proponent of it, Andy. You always talk about that, right?
Oh yeah.
So maybe I will explain how the technology works, and I was really hoping that the video is going to work, but it's not working. Otherwise, there was a little, the video here for how their processes work, but that's not working on the presentation. So I apologize for that. Now, going back to the technology, so how are they doing it, and how is the technology enabled to begin with? How are they able to read SAP that even people cannot read? So one of the things, and India, I don't know how much you know about how software systems are coded, but for the most part, you are going to have a bunch of tables inside any enterprise systems, right? You are going to have a bunch of code that people are writing. They are sort of calling the data, storing the data, etc.
Connections and logic.
Yeah. And one of the things that the way most technical systems are designed, if they are written by really good developers or really good data modelers or really good product teams, one of the things that you are always going to have is something called timestamp. And there are going to be technical timestamp. There are also going to be process timestamps that you generally have with most of the software systems. Now, some systems I have seen, they are extremely poorly coded, so they are not going to have those, or they are not going to have those everywhere. So one of the questions I'm going to have, because right now, if you look at the adoption of something like Celonis, right now they are in SAP ecosystem, they are in Salesforce ecosystem, they are probably in Workday ecosystem, but I don't think they are everywhere. So that's where my question is going to be, whether it is going to be as efficient in the other ecosystems or not, because they are just not as well coded in my personal experience. Now, the other example that I'm going to bring, and Andy, I don't know whether you know the system called Splunk. Splunk.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So Splunk is more of the technical system, used by IT, used by developers. For the most part, the intent of Splunk system was to do the technical log analysis. So you are going to have all of these technical different logs, and you need any sort of analytics, etc. From that, then you had the Splunk system. So this is a very similar process where what these guys are trying to do is they are trying to read the event log. And event log is the log that is published by most of the enterprise systems, and they are going to have these log messages. And in the event log, Andy, I don't know how much you could follow, but the event log that I was talking about, and this is going to be any of the events that you're going to have inside your enterprise systems. So it's actually doing the name of the event, it's doing the timestamp. And what systems such as Celonis they are trying to do is they are reading through all of those events, and they are trying to correlate all of these events across the enterprise systems. So this particular insight analysis that you're going to get, it's going to be across the systems. For example, let's say if you are correlating these processes from your SAP to Salesforce, Salesforce to back to SAP to Workday, all of these processes can be correlated. So this is going to be your enterprise-wide insight. Now, the difference between your SAP Signavio and your Celonis is going to be that SAP is tight coupling this with their enterprise architecture. So you will be able to track this across all of the SAP systems. In their marketing material, they might uh, claim that you can probably do the external systems as well, but for the most part the SAP systems are probably going to be slightly friendlier overall from the integration perspective. So when your transactional boundaries are going from your SAP S4HANA to your success factors, to your EWM, to your TMS, and these are very different systems, even though they are all part of the same SAP packaging branding. But underneath, they are supposed to be very different software products. Some of them were acquired and integrated by SAP. So same mindset, same philosophy, but there you are going to get a lot of pre-baked integration. But at the end of the day, what they are trying to do is they are making a database connection. They are reading all of these timestamp. They are reading the event log, and they are trying to visualize the sort of the process correlation based on that. So that's the technical underpinning, I would say, of how technology works. But obviously, this was not possible before, just because of the amount of data that these systems can produce. And SAP has roughly what 30,000 tables. That's how complex SAP is. For the most part, the other mid-market systems are probably going to have maybe 15,000, 20,000, sometimes 1,000, sometimes 10.
Man, yeah,
And they are
nothing in comparison.
exactly. And sometimes zero. They all are called ERP, and that's the fascinating part about marketing.
Marketing
Uh,
is an amazing thing.
exactly. But the differentiator is going to be in those tables and databases and number of layers that you have, because that's what is going to give you the scalability, the flexibility, the transactional traceability, the business model flexibility. That's why ERP systems are so powerful. So now, coming back to this, here, obviously, so the Celonis right now, they are not acquired by any specific enterprise software vendor, and that's why they are able to go across the ecosystems, and they are able to attack Salesforces of the world, SAPs of the world, Workdays of the world. That's where their major market share is. For the most part, any of the SAP migrations is where they are winning a lot, even though now SAP is trying to position their own tool. Now, when it comes to the competing technologies, RPA has a lot of overlap with this. In a lot of cases, companies are sort of bundling this with RPA technology, because process mining, RPA, they were sort of, coined around the same time. They are not same technology, but they are bundled together generally. And even ServiceNow, if you look at ServiceNow, they have implemented RPA as part of their product portfolio. They have process mining as well, but they are going to have collaboration with these vendors, and they are trying to utilize their technology underneath. So there's a lot of overlap in terms of the product portfolio as well as the capabilities. The real competition in the process mining world that you're going to find is really the SAP Signavio. I don't know if there are any other vendors. So we have some of the analyst reports as well that we are going to cover, and we'll check how many different vendors have the capabilities around process mining. But Celonis is the leading vendor. UiPath had acquired one company for process mining as well. UiPath is in the RPA world, but they have the process mining capability as well. So they are definitely competing head to head. But I don't know how detailed, how capable their system is. Obviously, UiPath is very good. Overall, in my mind, I consider process mining to be superior technology than RPA. RPA is great. It can automate a lot of different ad hoc workflows, but it's not as powerful as process mining, in my personal experience. The kind of value that these guys have, so this is extremely powerful, and in general is going to have a lot of future. Now, the price tag that you are going to get with all of these tools, obviously, it's super expensive. So whether that can be justified or not, that's going to be a question. But it's
Expensive means what?
millions of dollars.
Oh my
That's going to,
goodness.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a SAP price tag.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be cheap. But so Andy, we are going to review some of the reviews that we have captured. Some smaller companies have tried to utilize this as well, but again, it's more on the expensive side.
Oh, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So now collaborators, I would say ServiceNow is probably going to be the best collaborator. For these guys, everybody's trying to acquire or have some sort of footprint in the process mining industry as well. So every single vendor that enterprise software, Microsoft, etc., they all are trying to get there. They might have some capabilities, but they might not be as robust as these tools. Industries where you are going to find this is manufacturing, media, telco, check, banks, insurance, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. I was
Uh,
going to say, why don't you say the world, right?
yeah, exactly, pretty much everywhere. Okay, so I'm actually going to move to the next slide, and these are, so obviously Gartner has recognized this as a category, and they have been doing this for roughly what 5 years. I
Hmm.
think these guys started somewhere in 2015, and this has been a recognized category for last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely powerful. Analyst firms, they recognize this. Billions and billions of dollars
Did
are
you,
being poured.
excuse me, I'm sorry, Sam, did you say that this Celonis integrates with SAP, S4HANA?
No, Celonis is not owned by SAP.
Oh, it's
Uh,
not. Oh, I misunderstood you. Okay.
yeah, Celonis is not. Signavio is a different product. Signavio is owned by SAP.
SAP. So this
SAP
is a
has
competing product.
competing product, exactly.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Celonis, I mean, see, in this particular case, Andy, the integration is going to be slightly easier. When you are simply integrating with your database, you are simply looking up into database. It's a plain database connection, so it's not as hard. So some integration is going to be there. Even if it is not there, it's not as hard as integrating like ERP and e-commerce, ERP and maybe HCM. Those are much harder integration when you integrate them at the application layer. So this is going to be much easier integration in general. I don't know if that answers your question, Andy.
No, it does. Thank you.
Of course. So these are different vendors that we have. So obviously Solanas and SAP Signavio, they are to the further right. Meaning they are most advanced in their capabilities. And then you have Software AG. And I don't know how much you know about Software AG. You are going to find, and we have seen Software AG at multiple places. In most cases, you are going to find Software AG wherever you have some sort of automated testing component involved. Okay, that's how they were known, overall in the market. And obviously, process mining is sort of very similar capability, so that's why they are there as well. Software AG was also very much present in the enterprise architecture tool. Their customer was always enterprise architects, CIOs. They were their primary customers. They had a lot of tools in their portfolio before the SaaS products came along. The newer BPM tools came along. Software AG was present there. So that's why they are also equally rich in their capabilities, because they are trying to retain their market share right now, compared to the other folks who are gaining the market share in this space. Um, Microsoft surprisingly is further ahead as well. I don't know how advanced they are. I don't know if they have a product for that, but seems like they are far more ahead than UiPath. Can you believe this? So it seems like, I mean, they have very strong capabilities there too. Um, you are always going to find IBM. IBM also had very strong capabilities, around the architecture, the architects, CIO. If you remember, and Andy, again, I don't know how much you have tracked IBM, what they were really good at. They had a lot of different tools. For example, the whole rational suite was very strong for the enterprise architects, and that's why they have these capabilities as well, because this helps more from the consulting perspective. And for the most part, these tools are really designed for the consulting companies. Consulting companies is they are going to use it to run their consulting engagements. And my cold is just getting worse, I guess.
I can hear.
Yeah, it's very hard. I've been trying to get rid of this for last month.
I think you need to go to bed.
It's just a nasty virus, Andy, I got. It's like ERP.
Yeah, nasty virus.
It
Good,
never gets out of you, okay?
Yeah, you're stuck.
Yeah, you are stuck with it. Okay, and Pegasystems is a company, again, they were very present in the whole BPM space. So obviously, they are trying to retain their market share as well. So that's why they are present. APN was always in this market, so that's why they are there as well. Now, we have some more comments here overall in this review. So here they are talking about reconstruction and analysis of business processes at the world's largest technology fair, CeBIT, and I think CeBIT is known for I think that is for either enterprise architects or some sort of technology fair, due to the positive response from customers and the successful collaboration with SAP in the past year. So before in 2016, I think they were very close, but then SAP ended up acquiring Signavio, I believe, somewhere in 2020ish. That's where they got capability. So I don't know how recommended or aligned Celonis is right now from the SAP's perspective. But they were definitely collaborating a lot before. Particular on the benefits of SAP S4 HANA as a basis for Celonis, process mining and the analysis and optimization of processes and utilities. And utilities is one of the industries where you are going to find a lot of custom development in general. The processes are very complex in general in the utility industry. You have the automotive industry and the manufacturing and production as well. So very, very, very complex industries in general. And that's where you're going to find the most value of tools such as this. Then you have during the execution of business processes using IT systems, vast amount of data, commonly known as big data, are created. From this data, Celonis manages to filter relevant information, visualize the processes, and thus lay the foundation to make such more transparent and efficient. So again, that's what they are trying to do. I think we have already described how the technology is working. So that's exactly what they are trying to describe here. Now, Celonis was founded in 2011 by 3 former students of the Technical University, in Germany. And they are saying the company's clients span 25 industries and include global Fortune 500 companies such as Siemens, KPMG, Deloitte, and consulting companies were the first ones who really wanted to try this. And the reason for that is because now they are able to consult far more effectively. They don't have to rely on inputs from the users because users were always confused. So now this is a real value add for the consulting companies. Then you have Bayer and Vodafone, and again, all of the large companies. That's where the real value is. Then they had very close alignment with SAP until 2015, but then I think they parted their ways. They are still doing a lot of business together, but it's not as close, the relationship, as far as my understanding goes. And that's where the whole SAP movement was coming, with the in-memory database related to HANA. So SAP has changed their architecture, how they wanted to position their product, and that's where they did a lot of different things from the enterprise architecture perspective, from the process mining perspective. So it's been very interesting development, overall for the ERP industry. It's changed a lot in the cloud. It's no longer the same ERP that was there in the ECC world. Now, some more comments here related to Blue Prism. And this is the company, if you're not familiar with this, they are one of the largest RPA vendors. So you have three companies that have solid footprint in the RPA space. Blue Prism is one, and then you have Automation Anywhere, and then you have UiPath as well. Provider of the world's most successful digital workforce in Celonis, the leader in operationalizing process change for business transformation. And again, I think most of the RPA vendors are trying to bundle this as part of their suite, just because naturally they feel that it belongs there. That's why everybody is trying to align with the process mining space. Then they are saying AutoWare. This is the second announcement. So we have this for the Automation Anywhere as well. The leader in robotic process automation today announced a technology alliance partnership with Celonis, the leader in operationalizing process change for business transformation to integrate their respective platforms and collaborate on sales and marketing programs. RPA combined with process mining further enables organizations to streamline and automate processes, ensuring they operate at maximum efficiency. Exactly. So again, RPA was more of, I like to call this as more of the automating the broken processes, more for the stopgap use cases or for these ad hoc use cases. But there are going to be cases where you are going to need RPA when you are going to have slightly more agent centric processes. Uh, then we have some more comments here. So they are saying, built on its process mining technology, Celonis provides visibility into existing process flows, a detailed analysis of process matrix. So it's actually trying to bundle this with KPIs. And I really wish I could show the video in the first slide. But the way you are going to see this is inside the videos or during the demo, is that you are going to have a beautiful process diagram, and then in that you can pinpoint specific KPIs, and when you are going to make any sort of process changes, it's going to reflect how much savings you are going to get, how much value you are going to generate. Now, whether that's going to be real or not, that's a question. But we can at least do that from the data perspective. So that's exactly what they are trying to do here. Okay, some more comments. So this is the story coming from the insurance industry, and in that also you are going to have a lot of use cases where you're going to find uh, the process mining capabilities really helpful. And if you go to companies like banks, insurance, there the IT spend itself is going to be like billions and billions of dollars. Large banks have roughly what 20-30 billion dollars, and sometimes the number of apps that they are going to have in the organizations, it's humongous. Sometimes they don't even know how many apps they have, to be completely honest. That's how much duplication they have inside the company as well. So that's how much big blind spot they have inside the company. So obviously the process mining can do a lot in tracing across these applications footprint, and then figure out, okay, what the hell is happening inside the company. And especially for bank, insurance, etc., I think they are going to find a lot of value in general. So here they are saying the Oklahoma city-based company provides 2.5 million insurance policies to 1.5 million policy holders. That's the kind of volume that we are talking about here. Automatically routing to many emails that come in every day. And again, when you are going to have email as a channel, that complicates things a lot, because in general you just didn't have email automation inside your ERP. RPA, you might be able to do that a little bit. Workflow automation, you might be able to do that, but for the most part, when you're going to have that as a channel, sometimes the automation may make sense even inside your process mining tool, and that's what they have done. So this is a varied use case. So here they are saying automatically routing the many emails that come in each day to the correct destination. But you are going to find these use cases with your ServiceNow. You are going to find these use cases with your RP as well. So sometimes there could be substantial overlap. Which tool is going to do what? So that's where you need to decide. From the architecture perspective, what are you going to use? Which tool you are going to use for what purpose? And obviously, in the past, they are saying that a human would decide all of these workflows, but now this technology is able to do that. Then they are saying the traditional approach to business process management involves business analysts talking to managers and employees, conducting audits, then creating charts that illustrate the organization's various business processes. And that's the traditional consulting approach. Even the business analyst internal ones, that's how they are going to document the business requirements. They are going to find out, okay, what's happening inside the business, and you never get the full story, for that to be credible. So this was a real challenge. Many client engagements where we go in, and this is coming from one of the largest consulting firms, which is Booz Allen Hamilton, and they are saying many clients engagements where we go in, there's a process workflow on the wall, but the wall workflow can be only so large, right? So that's a huge
Or
challenge.
so detailed, yeah.
It's not detailed, it's not traceable.
Yeah.
This is where you can really drill into things, so that's a real value. But is that how things actually happen? You will find that how things actually happen is different. The bottlenecks are different. Using machine learning to do process mining helps people get a picture of how things are actually happening. Extremely powerful technology. Okay, so we have one case study here. So here, this is a pharma company, and they had a problem of on-time delivery. They just didn't know what was happening. It's a very large company, and we'll dig into how large they were. Uh, and they wanted to, find out this across different product categories, and sometimes that could be all over the place. Now, here they are talking about, this is coming from 2019, so fairly new, I would say. And this is a US client, it seems. So they are saying Celonis performance acceleration software today announced a co-innovation project with Sartorius, a leading global pharma and lab equipment supplier. And then they are saying that this collaboration enables Sartorius to improve. I've never heard of them. I don't know, Andy, whether you have heard of them.
No,
Uh,
never have.
um, to improve their customer on-time delivery performance across more than 35,000 products manufactured at 30 plants. Can you believe this, guys? By discovering the root cause of friction in their delivery operations, taking proactive steps to prevent issues, and continuously monitoring for sustained improvement. So the whole continuous improvement is part of that as well. They are saying the Celonis Sartorius focused on three key areas to drive improvements and co-develop the following apps: pre-built collections of target analyses, recommended actions, and core KPIs; on-time delivery monitoring, which corresponds to the reliability of the delivery itself; delivery capability, which measures Sartorius's capability ability to match customer order delivery dates; and delivery date changes, which measures how many times a delivery date was changed. So the delivery date was changing for whatever reasons. It could be procurement issue, it could be production issue, it could be your delivery issue, carrier issue, so many different things that could happen. So they are simply trying to diagnose, okay, why is it changing and how many times is it changing, because that impacts your customer experience as well. And for a company of this magnitude, it's going to be a humongous task to be able to find that. Okay. Then they are saying they work together to ensure that the apps were very flexible, able to zoom into specific regions, customers, and even factories to pinpoint opportunities for improvements. Incoming months, Sartorius plans to expand access to the platform and bring on more users. Next, they'll look at automation opportunities for procurement and production. So again, this is a great study tool. The way your data layer is going to be. In fact, I see the place for this inside your data layer, for the most part, where your data warehouse is going to be. That's where your process mining tool should live. The goal of this should not be to do the automation, because then you are going to keep the automations at two different places. You can do a little bit of notification, but you should not be creating ERP inside this, because a lot of companies are probably going to do that as well. So it's a very similar problem as whether you are going to use Palantir or this. You are going to run into similar challenges in deciding the boundaries of different systems. It's very powerful as long as you are using it for the right purpose. Some more comments here. Here they are talking about the market leader in AI-based process mining and process excellence software has been selected by the Harting Technology Group, the global market leader in field of electronic connectivity. And again, I don't think I've heard of them. To play an important role in Harting's digitization strategy by analyzing and improving its invoicing and procurement processes. It's being used in the financial processes a lot, because that's where companies are finding real value. By deploying the Celonis Intelligent Business Cloud (IBC), Harting aims to optimize working capital, reduce manual intervention, shorten processing times, and improve service to customers. An earlier pilot project with Celonis in purchasing and finance identified the potential for decisive improvements in the purchase to pay and account payable processes. So again, very very powerful in analyzing any sort of deviations that might be happening inside your procure to pay process or invoicing process. That's where companies are using it. Now they have coined a new term called execution management system. Now, which execution is that is going to be a question, because execution is happening at too many places, right? You are going to find the execution inside your supply chain systems. You are going to have supply chain systems for most of these companies. So now these guys are calling execution management system as well, which is very interesting. So you really need to read between the lines. Okay, what is execution management system? Because it could mean a lot of different things. So here they are saying that Celonis unveiled the industry's first execution management system, EMS. The Celonis EMS is designed to eliminate system complexity, the number one capacity killer in business. The Celonis execution management system sits on top of processes and systems and unlocks capacity in real time. But keep in mind, guys, this is the exact same pitch that your ServiceNow is going to have. This is the exact same pitch that your Palantir is going to have. So again, you need to decide, okay, which system is doing what. So read between the lines. It leverages the market-leading Celonis process mining core to draw data from underlying systems and identify and measure capacity barriers. And just to clarify, the role of your Celonis is going to be just to do the study. Palantir is slightly more data-centric system. So the role of Palantir is going to be to develop any sort of data-driven apps if you need to develop on top of your core transactional systems. But again, the goal of that is not to do the transactional processing. And then supply chain systems are slightly more external centric, processes that are not going to be just within your four walls. So each of these systems have very, very, very different scope. Okay, I don't have anything else on this one. I'll keep moving unless, Andy, you have any other comments. Okay, I'll keep moving here. So here they are talking about Celonis. So they have done some name changing. So let's touch on those. So they are talking about Celonis execution instruments, formerly known as process mining analytics applications. Celonis has more than 170 instruments that enable process professionals to measure their current execution capacity and identify execution gaps. So that is the execution instruments that they are talking about. And that is slightly more, I would say, this is more of the analytics version inside the app itself. And then you have the execution applications, okay, and that was formerly known as operational applications, available as, and these are the apps that you are creating inside Celonis for each of the process. For example, let's say you are going to have order to cash, or you are going to have procurement centric processes, account receivable, account payable, all of these apps that you are creating, because for each of the process you need to read bunch of data, you need to correlate. These are the apps. So it's very specific to Celonis, and they are calling Celonis execution applications. They are saying execution applications include Celonis opportunity management, that is going to be from your CRM world. If opportunity is going to reside only inside Salesforce, if they are also residing inside your SAP, then you are looking at the collected state of those opportunity. Then you have the accounts payable, depending upon how many systems are carrying the state for accounts payable. You have accounts receivable. And then they are saying these data driven applications measure execution capacity in real time. And data driven is probably the right term to use for these applications, because they are really powered by data, the underlying data, log data that you have. It's very metadata, system related data that they are really trying to use to power these apps. Which execution gaps have the biggest business impact, and provide the best in class action to remove these barriers. Then they are saying applications can both automate the readiness decisions and activate the right people to take hands on actions. And again, hands on actions that you need to take, so you need to either direct it to your people, they are going to take these actions, or you are going to do it in the systems where those actions belong. So that's where I guess the boundary or the distinction is going to be between these systems. Then you have a studio. Everybody has a studio. Palantir had a studio as well. So this is going to be slightly more developer centric, studio, I believe. So they are saying the new Celonis development studio allow, these are going to be ecosystem partners. So that's going to be your SAPs of the world, Salesforce, Workday. Everybody's trying to create these apps inside Celonis, and they are trying to publish because they want to be present there. Because so that's how the integration is enabled. And so if you ask, okay, do you have integration? Most of these ecosystem partners are actually enabling their own integration, or a consulting company like you or us are going to probably publish those. Yeah, allows ecosystem partners and customers to create execution instruments and applications. Celonis also unveiled the first execution applications built by partners: demand-driven material requirement planning (MRP), value mining by Chemlart, and controls excellence by Pravati. Pravati is a very large system integrator in the SAP ecosystem, so which can be found in the Celonis. So they are publishing all of these apps. Celonis also announced the acquisition of Integromat. So this is the acquisition. Celonis is also acquiring a lot of different companies. The industry's most advanced online automation system. Now, I don't know, what this is and where they sort of differ. I would say, in the capability. So this one, when they are saying online automation, my understanding is going to be this is probably the e-commerce flavor. We just don't have enough details here in terms of where they differ, but seems like they acquired these capabilities. So they are saying the addition of Integromat to the Celonis execution management system provides customers with a way to eliminate system complexity from all levels of system. So now they are going across the system boundaries, and then automation system will be tightly integrated into Celonis EMS and deepen the capacity of Celonis core automation engine. I don't have anything else here. I'll keep going unless you guys have any other comment. Okay. So here they are saying every industry maximize execution capacity, and then they are saying the extract data in real time from source systems and identify the most impactful execution gaps. This is all very similar commentary that we have seen for the EMS system. And they are saying execution application are role based apps for specific lines of business. So generally the way this is going to work is, so you are going to have all of these apps, and each of those apps are going to be designated to a specific process team, and they are going to have access to only those apps, so that they can, number one, run, and number two, monitor the process, then monitor the KPIs, etc. So that's why they have role based. Sometimes the security is going to be relevant, but again, this is not going to be the same workflow security that you're going to find inside SAPs of the world or the ERPs of the world. Okay, so we have some more comments here. So they are saying a company is deploying the Celonis account payable app for specific use cases to automate and optimize its SAP based processes, which have been jointly developed by ALSO, and Celonis experts. For example, Celonis automatically analyzes all the invoices due, compares the due date and the next payment run, and flags invoices to be paid in real time to qualify for any discount. So, guys, this is the real money here. It's extremely powerful because it's actually analyzing any sort of deviations, any data, the discounts that could have been utilized, But obviously, any of these systems are going to argue that you have all of these capabilities inside their system as well. But generally, it's not going to be as deep. Number one across these systems. You know, this is extremely powerful. You know, for any sort of, especially for the continuous improvement exercises when you need to really improve to learn what is happening with your business. These are real money here. Payment date of invoices, they are still valid on time, but paying a week earlier than necessary reduces working capital potentially available for any other business opportunities. And just because you are able to learn something, it does not mean that those processes are going to be implemented and you're going to get the real result. Because anytime, whenever you are going to have a large corporation, you are going to have politics involved, but at least you will be able to know where the politics is happening with this tool, and that's a real value of this tool. They are talking about, they have used the term called Celonis multi-event log, and they are using this to describe their capabilities as well. Further advances Celonis leadership in the execution management system segment, as recently acknowledged in the latest Everest Group, which is the analyst firm, for process mining assessment. Uh, yeah, so they are coining that term as well. Okay, so some more comments here, and this is the one more chart from major analyst firm, and they have very similar um, tools as well. And I don't know, Andy, if you can see. So this is 2020, right? So in
Yeah.
2020, I don't think we had Signavio. That's interesting. You just didn't have Signavio on the map. And within 4 or 5 years, Signavio came on the map because now SAP has acquired it. So here, or maybe they didn't pay enough to this analyst firm, and that's why they were not here. There is always a possibility. But you just have Celonis, you have Software AG, you have UiPath. UiPath has been in this market for a long time. You don't have any Microsoft, which is very surprising. Maybe Microsoft. I think Microsoft also acquired a company. That's how they got these capabilities. So 2020 market was very different. The only three players that were present here were Celonis, Software AG, and UiPath, and some of the, I don't even know what those players are, to be completely honest. Never heard of them. Like QPR Software, maybe very small. Okay, so they are talking. This is 2021, and they are talking about today announced $1 billion Series D round. A billion with a B. That is the investment. That is not the market valuation. That's how big they are, Andy. That's how big this market is. Increasing its post-money valuation to more than $11 billion. Can you believe this, guys? Celonis pioneered the process mining category 10 years ago when it first developed the ability to automatically X-ray process problems. That's the right way of describing, guys. These guys have done a wonderful job in describing their capabilities. Today, Celonis is leveraging this foundation to pioneer the execution management. Well, execution management industry, I don't know if that is the right term, but great. At least I don't know. I have not seen any analyst firms recognizing this term because it's vague in my mind. Yeah, and they are doing triple digit year over year. They have logos such as Danaher, Dell, Kimberly Clark, L'Oreal, all of the big guys. Now, some more comments here. So this is coming from 2021, and this is the collaboration between your ServiceNow and Celonis. The global leader in execution management today announced a strategic partnership to help companies maximize the impact and return on their digital transformation investments. So obviously, even though they might come across as similar technologies, they are very different. And ServiceNow, I don't know if they have their own technology for process mining. I think they are building the alliance with Celonis as opposed to doing the acquisition. Some companies have acquired, some companies are building the alliances. So partnership will combine ServiceNow's leading low-code and no-code workflow platform with the real-time uh, process execution capabilities, the Celonis EMS. ServiceNow also intends to make a financial investment in Celonis. So I don't know if their plan is going to be to acquire them later on, but all of these companies are investing in these companies as well. Once they become bigger, then they end up acquiring. But everybody is literally investor in these companies. And when they invest, they see that as a category that's a viable category that is only going to grow. According to Gartner, the market for software that enables hyper automation is the term that is generally used in the analyst community, will reach nearly $860 billion with a B by 2025. We are already in 2025. I don't think this is
Yeah, I'd like to know where they're at.
maybe 8 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly speaking, $1 billion is the investment. So I don't know if they have 1 billion revenue right now. I would doubt. But this is too much. But depending upon how you define a hyper automation.
Well, I think this is saying 860 billion is the potential for the market.
Depending upon how you define a hyper automation. If you put ServiceNow in that bucket, probably. If you put AI agents in that bucket, probably. So depending upon how you define, and sometimes the definition is just too big.
Yeah.
If you combine, in my mind, I would say Smartsheet, Monday.com, all of those. Is it hyper automation? Maybe. At least from their valuation, it's hyper.
But they're all ERPs, though, right?
They are not ERP. They are.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. Everything is ERP. ERP is a software now.
Everything's ERP.
Everything is ERP. Yeah. Okay. So this is again very interesting. Alignment with ServiceNow. Then we have 2022. In 2022, they are saying Celonis, the global leader in execution management, and EcoVadis, the world's most trusted supplier sustainability. And EcoVadis is a data platform for procurement. They are a rating platform, for procurement. And then data is going to be, is used by most Fortune 500 companies as well. So this is a huge alignment with them as well. A partnership to make business procurement processes more sustainable. Celonis will integrate EcoVadis sustainability rating data. They have sustainability data. Likewise, you have many different vendors. They are publishing different data sets. So they are publishing sustainability data. And now, again, I think we have been debating this. Okay, where is your ESG and sustainability going to reside? I don't know. Everybody's competing for that market share. Even e-invoicing market share, everybody is competing for that. You have document vendors that are competing for that. You have your SNOP vendor that are competing for that. ERP vendors are competing for that. And now these guys are competing. Palantir is competing. Everybody's competing for that. So I don't know where the consensus is going to be. I think that's where analyst firms are going to be a big help because everybody's talking about that, and obviously they are funded by them, so it's a difficult job for them as well. But hopefully one day everybody will settle in terms of the architecture, who's going to keep the sustainability and the ESG as well as your e-invoicing processes. But there's a lot of overlap right now. There's a lot of noise in that market segment. Then they are talking about ERP modernization has often been hyped as the prescription for every ailment related to business processes, but roughly only a third of the organization believe it is essential today. So again, guys, this is not meant to be the replacement for your ERP modernization. It's a great learning tool. You can learn a lot, but again, this is not replacement. So don't try to claim that this is a replacement. It's not meant to be that. Okay.
It's meant to supplement ERPs.
Supplement ERP implementation, going to make it easier to understand your own processes, because
Right.
that's where the problems were. ERP systems were never the problem. So now you are going to find the real value, that you are going to probably find the answer. That problem was always you, not the systems. Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't want to know that, though.
They don't want to know that. Even today, I think there might be power struggle in politics, and they just don't want to know.
No, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if I have any more comments here. I'm probably gonna stop. Andy, if you have any comments.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting how you described it as reverse engineering. It really is, like you said just now, it supplements the implementation.
Yeah.
Because it's got the documentation and the processes all defined. And, jokingly, we said, sometimes you don't want to know what the problem is because you find out it's you.
Yeah.
But that's the reality. And, a lot of ERP systems try to claim similar functionality, obviously a lot less sophisticated. No, I know. Don't get me wrong. I know, not even close. But I mean, this one, like you said, cost millions. My goodness.
Yeah.
But there are tools out there. I emailed you a PDF actually in the middle of our presentation.
Yeah.
The one that I used to work with, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the description about walking into an office and you see those sticky notes on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. Defining a process.
Yeah.
But the reality is, once you implement something like this, you find out that the sticky note isn't even close to where it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's not only not enough detail, it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
And if you have the money, if you're a big enough organization, this looks like an amazing tool.
Yeah, could not agree more, Andy. Great reporting, great analysis. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're going to have any more follow-ups there.
Well, I also thought it was interesting that it's using ML, machine learning.
Yeah.
So back to the original definition of AI-based process mining, I'm sure that's where a lot of it comes in. And I mean, everybody's talking about AI or ML these days, and they want to have direct integration of the machines. They don't want to have to be entering data. So I found that really interesting as well.
Yeah, so they are not going to have complete data always, especially when you are trying to build the correlation across systems. The systems are going to have very different state of the transaction, but these guys are trying to use data from many different places, and they are trying to correlate that. So that's where I think the AI ML is really powerful in this particular case. Yeah,
incredible. And like that was mentioned about the on-time delivery of 35,000 products across 30 plants.
Yeah.
Like,
wild.
Oh, come on.
Wild.
What's that?
It's wild.
I can't imagine any ERP doing that.
Exactly. That's not the intent of ERP. And again, these technologies are very powerful.
Yeah, ERPs will claim that though.
Only from the sales pitch and
the sales
perspective. Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Andy, again for your insights and reporting. Always very spot on. On that note, that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week, and hopefully I won't have cold next week. So I'll see you all next week.
Get lots of sleep.
I need to do that, Andy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.